There it is, guys. It is finally out and available for purchase on the Apex site, the Apex slide for the Hellcat Pro.
Well, surprise, surprise. I had to pull this video down and trim about a minute and a half out of the beginning of it. YouTube, for whatever reason, says that it falls outside of their guidelines. So I'm going to ask everybody to do me a solid, hit that like button. Please leave a comment down below, and if at all appropriate, share the video. I don't necessarily mind not getting advertising dollars on my content, but what I mind is that when YouTube takes that advertising away, what happens is they no longer put that content in front of people, they bury it in the search, and essentially the video just dies. Each and every time that you, the viewer, goes ahead and interacts with the content, that helps kind of push it into the algorithm a little bit further. When enough people get active on a video, it makes it really hard for YouTube to go ahead and suppress that content. And before anybody makes the comment, Rumble really isn't better. You know, I do post all of my content over on Rumble. Let's see, the viewership sucks, and they do not put 2A content in front of viewers the way that we would expect them to as a more free speech driven platform. Because of that, as a content creator that specializes in firearms content, I am stuck here at YouTube, the bane of my existence. It is what it is. So not just my content, but you know what? Any 2A content that you watch, make sure to leave a short comment, hit the like button, and if you like the content, give it a share. That's going to be it. That should fill that space. We'll go ahead and get back to your regularly scheduled programming.
Now that we've got that stuff out of the way, this right here is the final release version of the Apex slide for the Hellcat Pro. A lot of you know that Apex sent me one of these earlier this year, several months ago, to test out, and I really liked it. Between then and now, what they have done is added slots for porting, and they've also went ahead and released this ported barrel. Other than that, everything else is the same. So let's just do a quick overview for people who haven't already heard about this Apex slide. They do have two versions of this slide available. This, of course, is the honeycomb version. I actually prefer this over the standard version. The honeycomb actually makes for a really good grip when it comes to like an alternative for slide serrations. I'm actually surprised at how much grip that I get with that honeycomb versus your standard slide serration. So I am really happy with that. The slide comes with these, I believe they're XS night sights. They are tritium inserts. You have blacked out rear basically, and the orange dot high vis front. I kind of like that combo. Generally speaking, when it comes to iron sights, I'm more of a fiber optic kind of guy versus night sights. I'm really not a big fan of night sights. I always have a light on my gun, so I don't really need them. But I think that this combination, the high vis in the front and the blacked out rear, pops really well. Now, obviously, I have the Holosun 407K on here. This one is the green dot version, and I basically just rely on my red dot. With this slide, one of the big pros is that the slide is milled for a direct fit for that K series of Holosun optics. Now, real quick, before anybody asks about co-witnessing, I don't really focus on co-witnessing. I trust my optic. If my optic goes down, muscle memory is going to take care of the rest. A lot of times when I come out here and I do some practice shooting, I will actually remove the battery from my optic so that I can simulate it going down. And if you are dry firing regularly, if you are live firing regularly, you would be surprised at how accurate you can actually be without having any sight system at all. That being said, the co-witness of these sights with the Holosun on there, it's probably not going to be what you guys are looking for, you guys that are hardcore co-witness fans. The sights could be just a little bit taller, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be able to use them, just maybe not as clearly as you would hope. In the packaging for the slide, it is going to come with the screws that are the right length for this optic with this slide, so you won't have to do any guesswork as to what screws you need, what length you need. They're going to be in the packaging. You'll be all set when it comes in. The other thing to note with that is that this is a stripped slide. You're going to have to take your old slide and you're going to have to take the back plate, your striker, you're going to have to take your extractor, you're going to have to take all those things off of your slide and add them to this one. Then after that, it's going to be totally functional. Now, Apex does have most of those parts available on their site. I think the one thing that I haven't been able to find or source is the safety plunger on the bottom side of the slide. I can't find anybody that carries one of those. I'll have to do some more digging and kind of reaching out to different companies and seeing if anybody makes one. Here's the big news though. They have cut slots in the slide for the ported barrel that Apex is now producing. So here's what's happened. Springfield went ahead and released a version of this gun, the Hellcat Pro Comp, which it's not comped. I don't know why they're calling it that. It's a ported gun. So Springfield released this and everybody kind of went crazy for it. As you guys know, I do have a couple of other Hellcat Pros that are ported. So what Apex did was Apex revised this slide with the slots for the porting. They released a barrel that's ported as well. Today we're going to function test the port on this and just kind of see how it runs. I have a stock barrel still that hasn't been cut. I almost sent it off recently to have it ported. Glad that I didn't, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a couple mags through that stock barrel just to kind of remember how it handles. And then I'm going to swap back over to this ported barrel and we're going to see how that handles, and then we're going to talk about it. The stock barrel isn't horrible. I have a lot of features on this gun that help mitigate the recoil. I have the light on the front, which gives me a little bit of weight and a little bit of balance. I am using the Go Gun USA gas pedal, which also helps. I have the Hogue beaver tail grip on here and the Floyd's Custom magwell. All of these things help me with controlling the gun and giving me better mitigation of recoil. So even though the stock barrel is, generally speaking, a little bit snappy, it's still controllable. It's not horrible. Even with my carpal tunnel being, balls deep in a flare-up right now, it's not horrible. When we swap over to that ported barrel, a couple of things happen. There is noticeably less recoil with the ported barrel versus the stock, but also it does increase the sound profile. It is much louder. Now, you can't get an accurate assessment of volume here where I'm at. Of course, I have trees behind me, yes, but that entire direction all the way around is a deep rock wall. I'm basically sitting in the middle of a half bowl of rocks. So there's a lot of echo going on. Everything that happens here in this gravel pit is extremely loud. Ported guns are great for self-defense. You're able to stay on target a lot better because you're getting less recoil. I'm not a big fan of using a ported gun for my at-home home defense gun. I mean, sure, you're going to protect your life with that gun. That's cool, but you're probably going to lose your hearing for quite some time because they are considerably louder. That's just something to keep in mind. The porting on this Apex barrel does an amazing job at smoothing out the recoil impulses of the Hellcat Pro. I really do like the design. Now, I didn't bring anything to measure that recoil today. I'm not going to get into which is better, this or any of my other ported versions right now. I have a video coming up that is going to be this versus 3 or 4 different options for recoil mitigation. We'll get into that probably in another month or so. But I can tell you this. When it comes to the ported barrel that Apex is producing, it handles phenomenally well. Apex makes some of the highest quality barrels on the market. I have one of their 5-inch barrels for my M&P competitor. Honestly, they are accurate, they are reliable, they're durable. You can't go wrong with an Apex barrel. So anybody that is nervous about kind of changing over from a stock barrel to an Apex, just put that stuff to rest. They make incredible products. I know there's a lot of apprehension about these slides out there over the price point, and I get it. They're not cheap. Here's the thing. This setup isn't going to be for everybody. I realize that. They are a little on the expensive side, definitely less when you use that promo code, but these slides are for the Hellcat Pro enthusiasts, those people who absolutely love this platform and are willing to upgrade it to its absolute maximum potential. Now these guns, the Hellcat Pros, as a stock firearm with no upgrades, no additions, they're great guns. They're great carry guns, great concealment guns. And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to put all this stuff on your Hellcat Pro in order to make it good. It's already good. The thing is, though, is adding all the things I've added have made this gun great. They've elevated it to what I believe its peak performance is. If you, like me, absolutely friggin' love this Hellcat Pro platform, I would say the Apex slide is certainly worth looking at. It's worth the consideration. Whether or not you want to spend the money is, at the end of the day, going to be, between you and your accountant. But I like it. I really do. Now, here in the near future, we are going to be doing that recoil comparison. I have 2 other ported slides, but I'm considering buying another Hellcat Pro, one of the comp models, as soon as I can get one here in my mag restricted state. I'm going to also do some work with a couple of different comps. It's going to be a long, boring video, but we are going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what works best for recoil mitigation on these guns. That's going to be it for today, guys. I really appreciate you watching. Remember, hit those buttons down below, leave a comment. As always, I'll see you back here real soon.